What's up guys, it's the Cheapster here, back with another video, and we're going to be talking today a little bit about the delivery driving markets and kind of what has happened in 2022, because if you guys are out there doing delivery driving, you probably know that not just this year, but I guess even the year before too, 2021 to 2022, delivery driving has just been kind of wild. It's been really unpredictable what's going on, and I've been doing this for about 5 years, and I can tell you these past years have been insane. And I think so much of that has to do with the fact that people are finally starting to stumble into the gig work economy and stuff, especially with 2020 that really pushed a bunch of people into it, and it's just really changed a lot of the dynamics of how gig work and all that stuff works. By the way, my neighbor is sawing outside. I don't know if you can hear that, but you might hear that from time to time. But something interesting I've noticed is when I used to do these videos in 2020 talking about gig work, delivery driving, all that kind of stuff, there was a very positive response for people to how they felt about it. And I think the reason for that is probably because there was so much demand back then and people were starting to get into the jobs and realize that they could make good money. So people were making pretty good money as a whole. But now what I've noticed in 2022 is it's actually pretty negative. Most of my comments are pretty negative about being a delivery driver and how it's difficult work. And I totally understand it coming from somebody who's actually been deactivated by Grubhub and stuff and had to deal with problems with that. But with seeing all this, I thought maybe it was time to give you guys a State of the Union address, the state of the delivery driving market address. And of course, a lot of this is just going to be from my experience and what I've seen from you guys in the comments, my own experience working it. Like I said, I've done this for 5 years, so just kind of knowing where things have come and where they are now. Okay, so starting off, one of the main things I do want to talk about is what I've noticed so much of the past year, and probably what you guys are noticing too, is how much fluctuation there's been in the delivery driving market. I mean, when I do stuff like DoorDash, I could go out there and it could be crazy. I could have tons of orders, work a ton, and that could be like a Tuesday, or I could go out on a Friday and I could have no orders and it could be really bad. It just kind of seems to be all over the place right now. I don't know if that's how you guys are experiencing it, but for me, that's sure the way it's been. I used to talk a lot about figuring out your area and trying to figure out when the best time is to work so that you'd be able to make the most money. And usually, logically, you would think, okay, it's stuff like Friday, Saturday, dinner time, stuff like that. That's usually when you're going to make the most money. And now I'm not so sure that that's actually the right thing to go out and do, because there's been days that I've gone out on a Monday night and made way more money than I've made working on a Friday during the dinner rush. So I don't know if some of that has to do with the fact that there's people on YouTube that are telling people to work Friday at the dinner rush, and that's what everyone is now doing. But I definitely have noticed that it has gotten kind of crazy trying to figure this out there. And I definitely recommend that you guys just don't get stuck to one time to work or one day to work thinking just the weekends are going to be the best or dinner time, because you never know. There's some of these days where it just gets good on random days because people probably don't think to work that. And the next thing I want to talk about is expenses. I've done a few videos talking about this, talking about how expenses in this past year have gone nuts. Gas prices have risen so much, car values have risen so much, and I think most people right now would be thinking, well, gas prices are starting to come down, so that means most things are just getting better and we can go out and work again, and it's kind of like it was. But the truth is, I would still say expenses are very high, and it's definitely something you need to weigh, because car values are still really up there, and you don't realize that the depreciation on your car is probably one of the biggest expenses you're taking as a delivery driver. It's just not something you're paying every day, so it's easy to forget about it until you need to go to the mechanic to repair something that's like $2,000, or when your car just totally breaks down and you have to buy a new one. And don't get me wrong, I am so happy that gas prices are going down, and that has definitely made it a lot easier. There's also a bunch of things out there, like one of our local gas stations is doing 25 cents off per gallon if you pay with their like debit card thing, which is super nice. Or you can use things like Upside, of course, which I always talk about. That link's down below in the description if you guys want to sign up to get cash back on gas with that. And there's a bunch of other programs. DoorDash has things, and a bunch of other companies have done stuff to help you save on gas. So some of that's getting better, but the big thing here to remember is that your car depreciation and stuff like getting services done on your vehicle have gone up in price, and that's going to cost you more money now too. I mean, the other day I had to get a new car battery, and I remember that used to be maybe a little bit over $100, maybe like $120 or something, and it was about $200. So don't forget that those expenses are still pretty high right now, and you need to make sure that you are taking good orders and not letting those expenses destroy your profits. All right, and the next thing that I want to talk about that you guys can see in the thumbnail is, what is all this about? I have never seen an order on DoorDash for $250. and this is not even a close order. This stuff is terrible. This is a very hard thing with delivery driving right now that I think everybody is feeling, is that our expenses have gone up so much with inflation and everything, and delivery driving has not gone up in price. At least I have not seen it go up in price, and I've seen things that are coming out like $2.50 orders that are actually making it less worth doing this stuff. Again, like I said, this is my opinion, this is my experiences that I'm kind of coming at this from, but I've seen that delivery driving has at least not changed in price in the past years. It's pretty much paid the same or less. It definitely has not gone up with inflation and pay. And with all the other expenses and stuff that you have to tack on now, that gets getting really difficult. Also, moving on from that into the fact that we are now in a technical recession. Sure, there's some debate on what's actually going on and if this truly is a recession or if we were in a recession and we're coming out of it now. Whatever all that stuff is, we can definitely see that consumer spending has gone down, and that really affects the delivery driving market, because obviously when people are not going to spend as much, they're not going to spend as much on things like ordering food out when they could just go drive and get it and save a lot of money. So things like delivery services are pretty quickly first on the chopping block of things that people are going to cut out. And luckily right now we haven't seen high unemployment, but if we did start to see that, we could get a really bad situation in the delivery driving market, because you'll start to see less orders and more drivers, which supply and demand would tell you that you're not going to make much money after that. So that is yet to be seen where that's going. I think I'm feeling it a little bit in my market. I don't know if you guys are too. Let me know in the comments if you guys are feeling that. But the last thing I obviously want to say, like I've said this whole time, is these are kind of my experiences from what I'm kind of hearing from you guys and what I'm doing when I'm working and all that. But it is still so dependent on your region. So much of what your experience is with doing delivery driving can be so dependent on if your region is good, if it's bad, if there's a lot of orders, if there's a lot of drivers. You really don't know till you try that. But that is my state of the delivery driving address. You can hold your applause. Thank you, thank you. But going forward from here, what I think is probably going to happen with delivery driving is things will continue to keep changing. We'll probably have a lot of these fluctuations on and off if days are going to be good or not. The recession is probably going to affect things with people spending like we're seeing. But what I am hoping from here is that eventually there's going to be more gig work stuff that comes out, because right now there's just not a ton of things that you can do for gig work that's as easy as DoorDash or Grubhub or something like that. But I think as those things start to come out, there's more opportunities for people to do gig work like this stuff. There's not going to be so many people trying to push to do DoorDash, where there'll be more orders to go around, and maybe we can find more of a balance. I think that can make the entire system better. At least that's my view. But my personal plan for delivery driving is just to keep working to make extra money to invest, like I do with my Side Hustle Millionaire videos, because I think that's one of the best ways to use it, if you can use it on the side of a full-time job, or in my case, multiple part-time jobs that make up full-time. And of course, always be looking for other gig work stuff that's out there. I personally just started looking into the app Roadie. I'm going to do some more stuff on that. It's not looking amazing, but it is another thing that's possible that you can make extra money with. But last, I just wanted to say, as I say a lot of times, just hang in there, guys. I know it's kind of been like a wild time in delivery driving, whether you're new to it and this is kind of your experience with it, or if you're an old veteran like me and you've been doing it for a while and now you've seen things just change so much from what they are. I think things will start to find more of a balance as we get more gig work companies doing stuff, and as the economy kind of starts to normalize, which I don't know when that's going to be, but I think it will get better at some point. But just remember in the meantime to use it to your best advantage. Don't get stuck with only doing that when there's other opportunities for you. Just try to find what's the best way that you can use it to make the most money. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys liked the video, remember to do the cheapest thing you can today. Tap that like button and also subscribe to the channel to keep up with more of this and the delivery driving markets and what's going on with them and all that, and other opportunities that you guys can use to make money as I find them along the way. But thank you guys so much for watching, and remember, stay cheap.
Hey, you better be saving that money. Don't you be spending it now. You're still here watching this? You might as well just subscribe. Why would you not at this point?